What makes an episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog? Thinking about it, this show is essentially a series of horror stories told around a campfire. It's meant to make you question your miserable existence as you follow the plight of two senile elders and their golden-hearted dog. It's a dusty window into the highs and lows of... human? Nature? That sounds like Courage. That's a show I'd watch. And while a good episode encapsulates these elements, a great one adds a little something else. The creepy stuff happening in nowhere is far from being the only note Courage can play, because when he pulls at your heartstrings, he is at his finest. But we're not here to look at his finest. If you haven't caught on yet, we're going to figure out the worst episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog. A major part of Courage the Cowardly Dog is its scariness. But more importantly is its framing and methods of portraying what is scary. Since the show is told from the perspective of a small dog, anything can be terrifying. It's as if he's a toddler discovering the world for the first time. We've all dreaded staying at a motel at least once. Being away from home in an unfamiliar bed, strangers, critters all around us. What if someone's watching me? With Courage as the voice of the show, things as simple as darkness and shadows can become absolutely horrible. As human beings, large things that we don't understand scare us. It's why games like Among the Sleep succeed in their execution. And with these common horrors, the show builds metaphors around them to help facilitate their fitting into the universe. Take the classic Queen of the Black Puddle, for instance. The fear of infidelity and abandonment manifests in the form of a siren anglerfish hybrid trying to lure Eustace away. Daddy leaving mommy for a sketchy woman he met at a bar is a bit heavy for a children's show, but a song-singing monster trying to take daddy away to eat him? That's a cause a kid can rally against. Here we have what helps the cartoon stand the test of time. It's animated and fun to look at for the kids, and it throws in little nods for the good parents that keep abreast of what their children are watching. Rugrats did it. Powerpuff Girls did it, Animaniacs did it, and you know you struck gold when studios are constantly trying to chase your high with reboot after reboot. The next thing minds go to when thinking of Courage is likely how weird it is. Looking at a list of episode titles, a lot of my memories of this show feel like a distant fever dream. Let's break down 1,000 Years of Courage real quick. The premise is quite simple. A meteor hits the Earth and... wait. The beginning is important too. We're playing television bingo with our dog because the bingo mats have TVY7 and NC-17 on them for some reason. And let's keep in mind this is after the showrunners downgraded Courage from a talking dog to a dog that sorta says words sometimes. He had a lot of dialogue in the first season. Okay, we're playing bingo and a meteor hits the Earth and majorly fucks its solar rotation, plunging us into the future. Not Samurai Jack. But here's the kicker. 1,000 years into the future, the population is comprised of an intelligent race of bananas that really seem to like bananas for some reason. Modern buildings don't look like people, do they? I'm pretty certain our doors don't have tiny little person-shaped handles. They must be really confident in their body images to erect banana effigies around town every chance they get. But, they can't be too smart if they've essentially fallen into a cult led by this King Banana. Oh, I'm sorry, Top Banana. In Banana Holla, all your questions will be answered? The free thinker in me says no thank you. The climax takes us to Banana Holla, where all the right bananas are supposed to enter one at a time to have their questions answered. And in true Courage fashion, Banana Holla is not utopia. It is instead a giant gorilla that really enjoys eating ice cream sundaes, and by the looks of it, has been enjoying them for a long time. Yeah... And in the thick of it are Eustace and Mario pretty comfortable with change in their old age. Sure, they're trying to find a way home, but if you didn't tell me that, I'd believe they're on vacation considering the lack of urgency in their gait. Courage has to do all the legwork, of course, and save the day. Let's get this straight. This is in fact a weird episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog. But it's all par for the course as long as we reset to 0 at the end. I'm looking at you, Great Fusili. The episode works very well. One, because it stands out and you will never in a million years forget the banana episode of any show. But also because it's familiar. There's a simple setup, a few gross out shots, and we jump right into the plot. Thank you, Courage, for being reliable in my half hour of need. Because this type of Courage the Cowardly Dog episode creates a heady situation for the characters to navigate while creating absurd comedy and references. The show wants you to laugh at your fears, and it does a damn good job setting itself up for the punchline. Alright, you knew it was coming. Get your handkerchiefs ready. It's the other type of Courage the Cowardly Dog episode. Sometimes this show has to take you to a particular place to hammer its point home. It always wants you to feel something. And what that means in terms of execution is really human moments of characters being really shitty or quite nice to one another. One of the earlier episodes, Courage Meets Bigfoot, is a wonderful lesson in judging books by their covers. A simple misunderstanding, even a single crossed wire, could spell disaster for an innocent child that wandered a little too far from his backyard. But Courage is always there to save the day, protect the little guy, and stand up for what's right. Rightfully so, the first season is jam-packed with powerful lessons and interactions. Mother's Day, sort of a difficult episode to watch, tackles family dynamics between people who have to be ancient at this point. But it continues to be relatable and relevant. Everyone has their own insecurities and something that truly makes them feel vulnerable. But if you have someone to take on the world with, life gets easier at times. All anyone needs is a little reassurance and a lot of love to get by. People tend to fold when faced with adversity, but they can be really resilient sometimes. The Hunchback of Nowhere is a textbook after-school special on bullying and inner beauty. It's a lesson on how tough society can be. I absolutely believe that people treat other human beings like shit because they're not conventionally beautiful or a reflection of a particular body image. But time and time again, courage is the model we should all strive to emulate. Eustace sees a frightening hunchback he can hurl insults at, but Courage sees a friend, who in turn helps him cope with his abusive relationship. Sticks and stones, my man, sticks and stones. Combine all these themes and you end up with a show that stands out as one of the greats from when Cartoon Network's lineup was still legendary. Combine all these and you get Remembrance of Courage Past, a tear-jerking send-up to the series as it retells the origin story of how Courage became Courage. The fear in this episode could be derived from something abstract like your own past, or something a little more concrete like losing your parents. The animation choice of conveying memories will stick in your mind long after the episode ends. And again, unless you're heartless like this veterinarian, you won't be dry-eyed at Courage's hardship. This show knows what it has to do to be great and succeed, but I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, and Courage is not perfect. This is the part where I tell you the worst episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog, so I will. It's Cajun Granny Stew. This is a very early episode, and you can tell right away. Even compared to its sister episode, A Night at the Cat's Motel, this episode is a bit of an out-of-place anomaly. It has all the bones of a typical episode. Courage trying to protect a helpless Mariel, a weird and creepy villain with awful motives. But that is all. This is a clear case of a show not quite knowing what it is or what it wants to be. It seems more like a Looney Tunes clone than an episode of Courage. It's nothing but cartoonish gags of Courage and the Cajun Fox playing cat and mouse with Muriel's sleeping body. To be honest, it's almost too cartoony. A lot of Courage episodes, while crazy weird at times, are at least a little bit grounded. This is way out of left field compared to the entirety of the show. Visual gags are tired, the backdrops are lazy, and its plot is a little too loose. The fox wants Muriel, Courage doesn't want her to be eaten. It's too simple. And lastly, it's not really scary. Sure, being kidnapped while you're asleep is a scary thought, but the execution doesn't force me to think past that. I'm too concerned with why there's a payphone in the middle of a field. Cajun Granny Stew stands out among other Courage episodes, and not in a good way. This disparity is why it's the worst episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog. But here at Stunt Club Soda, we all love this show, so I'm gonna run through some of our personal favorites. My episode of choice is Tulip's Worm. It may not be the best of the best, but it's one of those episodes that has a weird premise and a very extreme and over-the-top resolution. Danny's favorite episode is Demon in the Mattress. He enjoys the horror concept that turns into true comedy, especially at the exorcism. It has to be good if you can laugh at the same joke twice. Ken decided on House of Discontent. It has a good contrast between live action and animation. It's supposed to be off-putting and the execution ages pretty well. It will always look weird. Jacker's favorite is A Night at the Cat's Motel. Yeah, the first episode, excluding the pilot. Katz is comfortable and well-versed in the world of nowhere, and he constantly bests Courage in physical feats. And lastly, Steez went with King of Flan. And again, he says it's the only one he could remember. Not a bad episode. Yeah, binge eating is a fun topic. Well, we did it again. We've taken another childhood favorite and decided on its worst episode. What are your personal bests and worsts of Courage the Cowardly Dog? Let us know down in the comments. And for more videos like this, subscribe to Stunt Club Soda, click that bell, and keep coming back for those uploads.